Yeah, I know. I understand.
Okay, so now I got to share screen.
If you could also unmute yourself, sir.
Somebody want to make a motion?
I move we accept the minutes of whichever month you're talking about.
Jonathan, you gotta swear me, you gotta swear me in too. I don't know. if we-
Swear you into.
Do we have to vote on anything tonight, or?
Well, just that we're gonna pass the pass or not pass these on to the selectmen.
Well, you better swear me in then.
Well, we might as well swear you in anyway. First of all, let's start with swearing Danny.
I move we swear it, Danny.
I have a second?
I second.
Okay, all those in favor? All those
Thank
opposed?
you.
Now let's start with the minutes.
Yeah, I'll move we accept the, is it last, well, not.
It was January.
January 3rd.
2 meetings ago.
January 3rd, minutes.
Okay, do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? Now we'll move on to old business with the amendments to PUD provisions and dimensional requirements to improve utilization of sewer accessible land for residential development. This is a public hearing. It's not terribly extensive. I mean, did you look this over at all?
At the last meeting, there were a number of questions that you asked me to look into.
Yep.
And then the memo I sent you, I'll just go over those for the public. The question was, what is the capacity of the Great Salt Bay Sanitary District? And they're at 50% capacity now.
Yeah.
And that's good for many, many years.
Some of that, I believe, was addressed in this.
What additional residential development will put the school near capacity? We don't know that at this point. The Comprehensive Plan Committee will be investigating that.
But the school has been at capacity,
That,
you know,
yeah,
it has been. So, yeah, or over capacity.
Can new residential units be located above commercial spaces? The amendments that the Board of Selectmen will be considering next Wednesday and will likely go before the town meeting will allow mixed use buildings in the commercial 2 district. So that will be allowed. Someone could do a commercial building, second floor apartments, for example.
But aren't they allowed now?
No, not specifically. There's no mixed use buildings are not listed in the ordinance. That's one of the things we're addressing.
Okay, so they're not prohibited, they're just not listed.
They're not listed, so it's arguable whether someone could do that or not.
Okay,
Classically, they have though.
Well, there are old buildings with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if someone wanted to come in today and do one,
well, like
It's
Youngins
questionable.
is mixed use, you know, those 2
Who?
buildings, Youngins. The Youngins store, there's retail below, apartments above on 2 buildings right there.
where
In the C2 district,
Oh, right next to the barbecue place, between the school and Back Meadow Road,
how old
Yeah.
is the building?
probably 20.
yeah,
I can remember them being built, but that doesn't make them very
or,
good.
yeah,
it is.
less than 20
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah.
Been a
Well,
while.
the amendments will make it absolutely clear. that
Okay.
we can Do that.
Yep.
Impact of these proposed amendments on the tax base. I said almost all new residential development, including congregate care and assisted living facilities, will be taxable. What sewer accessible land is available for new development? And how many new lots could be created? I couldn't tell you exactly how many lots will be created, but I did create a map that's why is that not just a second, let me see if I can get this on the screen. Okay, so that black line you see is roughly the limit of the sewered area in town. And the red X's are properties that are not available for development, either because they're may have a conservation easement, or one of those is the gun club, or otherwise not available. So if you look at that and look at the vacant land, there really is not much available, which is one reason why we're hoping to allow greater concentration of residential development where we can in sewer areas.
In the existing sewer,
The existing,
even more limited.
yeah, well, that is roughly the area that could be served relatively easily by the existing sewer system. Anything else beyond that square is going to require extension of sewer lines. And the Great Salt Bay Sewer District, the only way they expand sewer lines is someone else pays for them. So that's something we've discussed with developers, because it is a big issue. That's a significant infrastructure cost. So we need to make better use of what we have.
But the sewer, the actual sewer, existing sewer lines are very limited.
Yes, they are. You know what, if you
Even
like, I
in
could pull up.
downtown, like they're not up Hodgson Street, you know, behind the cemetery, for instance.
No, they're not.
Let me pull up a map of
They're
the
not what
the
up
sewer.
there?
They're not on Hudson Street, like up behind the cemetery.
Yeah,
They're not hooked to the town sewer?
no,
I didn't
it's
know
all
that.
septic systems.
Okay, just a moment.
And you would actually have a good idea on that. Are there other?
Okay, so this map shows you the sewer lines in town. Those blue lines,
Mhm.
that's not much. considering we're a service center, we're a compact community. That's it for sewer lines. So again, that's one reason why we want to take advantage of whatever vacant land we now have. So that's, those are the answers I had to your questions. Staff recommends approval of those amendments.
You couldn't come up with a number that may happen. Do you had people approach you who want to?
Yes, we do right now. In fact,
Contractor or two, or
the second set of amendments related to medical uses, the definitions, that's kind of related to a major project that will be proposed on Piper Mill, that area. We're expecting 85 or 90 unit assisted living congregate care project to be proposed later this year.
Clipper ship.
No, it's the Clipper ship sold the land to a developer in association with Lincoln Health. So that's going to be a fully taxable project. And I expect that if you remember, about 20 acres off that road is roughly developable. It wasn't included in the easement or the sale of land to the coastal rivers. And I expect that this housing developments probably won't take more than about 5 acres. And what the hope is that perhaps associated with that would be some type of senior living, independent living kind of, could be like a duplex subdivision or individual lots, that type of thing. So we're hoping that whole property, that 20 acre, can be fully utilized.
It's pretty wet.
Well, obviously,
It's
the areas that are wet can't be developed. But if with a independent living kind of project, they'll take advantage of what open space. I mean, what areas do not have wetlands. We're not filling in wetlands, so you just can't do that anymore. You can't do it under our local regulations. The state won't allow it. So wetlands will be protected. And don't forget, 80 acres of that 100-acre site is fully protected because it was transferred to Coastal Rivers Land Trust.
So that piece of land, it's 20 acres there?
Roughly about 20 acres that was retained by Clipper ship. And they transfer the rest to the land trust. They were going to do I don't know what they were going to do, but it's whatever their plans were, no more.
That's land trust, that's
Yeah.
Clipper ship.
I know exactly. I've been over that Kentucky's property.
And these,
Grandparents used to own it.
Okay, then you
I
have two.
still utilize it pretty heavily.
Okay.
oh,
All right. Does anybody else have anything else they want to interject on this?
no, I don't have anything significant to say, so I guess I won't say it.
What do you mean by an internal property line?
so let's just say you have a private subdivision on a private road. The lots on that private road, those are internal property lines. So in that context, it would be reduced setbacks.
Within a
But the
subdivision.
external setbacks would still be what they normally are. That type of provision would allow zero lot line development if someone wants to do that, which I hope they do.
What?
Zero lot line development would allow a building, if you can imagine two lots with a building on each lot, and the buildings are immediately adjacent to that common property line. It allows a denser development. That's really something that it's more of a condominium development within individual buildings. I think I've shown you pictures of those elsewhere, like there's one in Thompson. The advantage of that is that the folks who buy into that don't have to maintain grounds or grass or anything else. That's maintained by the management company or the condominium association. I mean, it was that kind of housing opportunity that we don't have here. I don't know that we have it anywhere in Lincoln County. And I think that would serve our changing demographics pretty well.
Certainly a need.
Yeah. So I don't know if anyone's here for the public hearing, either by Zoom or here.
I don't see there.
Daniel McGuire.
He might be just sitting in.
Okay.
All right.
If you wanted just a refresher on what the amendments do, that's a summary of what the amendments would accomplish.
So how does this fit in? You know, we made changes to the subdivision ordinance.
No, this is for planned unit developments.
So this is like a totally separate.
That's in the land use ordinance. The land use ordinance has planned unit developments. Now, I'll say that you recall 3 or 4 years ago, we did those open space subdivision provisions in the
Right.
subdivision ordinance. And some of these provisions here are very similar to what we did for the open space subdivision. What we're doing is pulling them into the PUD provisions.
Okay.
And these apply to if you have sewered land.
Mhm.
The open space subdivision provisions really focus on unsewered rural land.
Any other questions? All right, nobody else got any other questions? I'm gonna close that part of the public hearing down. On to additional amendments to land use ordinance and update medical related definitions and use. Public hearing.
I can just summarize. This is a lot less complicated than the last thing we just talked about. Basically, when we did our land use ordinance recommendations that are now sitting before the Board of Selectmen, we did those last year. It turns out that we were kind of out of sync with some of the state regulations as far as what they define. So this revises the definitions a little bit. So we've got some new definitions or revised definitions. For example, we don't define nursing care facility. We don't defined residential care facilities, so we've added those. Then we've made some amendments, proposed amendments to the land use table. Basically, what it says is congregate, we're adding, right now we have congregate care, assisted living facilities are allowed in the C1, C2, and rural district. What we're suggesting is adding independent living facilities, institutions or services for the disabled, nursing care facilities, residential care facilities, and group care facilities for those three districts. All of those are residential in nature. Limiting them to the C2 just doesn't make a lot of sense. Again, any of these really going to need sewer to be developed. And we have such limited sewer area that I would like to make as much use of that as possible. So that's what the proposal is. And if you approve it, it'll go to the Board of Selectmen next week.
So C is conditional.
Yeah, all these are conditional.
So
Right.
wouldn't you allow, like in the medical, M is M municipal or medical?
No, that's municipal.
Municipal, okay.
It's 5 pretty simple changes.
Yep.
If I had probably spent more time thinking about those uses, I would have talked to someone up at the state and they would have set me straight to begin with.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They didn't.
That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Has anybody got anything to say about that one? No?
Anyone on the Zoom call?
Working?
So we need to approve these changes?
Well, we gotta close this public
Okay,
hearing
close
down,
the public hearing.
yes. Okay, so I think we'll bring this public hearing to an end also. So we have to approve these changes and send them off to the selectmen as far as they don't vote. I believe is what we gotta do. We'll do them one at a time. Right. Everybody good with the amendments, the PUD provisions, dimensional requirements to improve utilization of sewer accessible land for residential development? Do I have a motion?
I would move that we accept that as you read it.
I second it.
Okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, second one. Additional amendments to land use ordinance to update medical related definitions and uses.
Again, I would move that we accept that as you read it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
All those in favor? All those opposed?
Great.
Send those out. to the select.
That's all we have tonight, except for I'll say that the town, I've told you before, I think about the new planning position. Damariscotta and Booth Bay Harbor intend to split that position. They've gone out and advertised. Last week, they put it in some national publications, that RFP. Hopefully, they will, I forget, I think at the end of the month, it closes. So hopefully we'll have some good candidates and they can select someone and I can go off into the woods.
Sunset, yeah. So when are we going to be splitting it with Booth Bay or?
Yes, it's
50-50?
half-time. It's a full-time position. Each town gets 20 hours a week. And I think that'll work out real well. I mean, those two towns, there's a lot of similarities between both towns, a lot of issues. Both of them are doing comprehensive plans. So I think it'd be good. It's a lot better than trying to, I mean, It's very difficult to find someone to do half-time work.
Mhm.
So
Is that Booth Bay or Booth Bay Harbor?
Booth Bay Harbor.
Pretty hard to find anybody to work. period.
And when do you think that that person will be hired? Or-
Well,
In June.
I'm hoping that by the end of April, they will have made a selection.
Okay.
And I will be around as long, my absolute deadline's the end of June, but it may be sooner, depending on how quickly someone comes on board and has some transition.
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you very much
All
for
right,
this
do I
evening.
have a vote to adjourn? A motion to adjourn.
To adjourn this meeting.
Seconded.
Second. All those in favor? All those opposed? All right, guys, have a great night.
Thanks.
I told my wife it shouldn't be more than an hour, so look at that.
We're gonna be right
Have
on.
you had stuff?